Clinging to the treacherous slopes of the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania, existed a solitary old lion. Many years had passed, and his once majestic appearance had given way to a gaunt figure. His body was thin, and the mane that was once a symbol of power, was now sparse like withered grass. Memories of his days ruling a mighty pride, his resonant roar that once struck fear into the hearts of all creatures, and the scars crisscrossing his face that were once a source of pride, were now just faded scenes in his mind. But the harsh laws of nature showed no mercy, and old age, like a silent specter, slowly enveloped him. When he clearly felt the heaviness in each step and his once sharp claws had become dull, the old lion silently left his pride, accepting a solitary existence in the wilderness. Heavy paws carried him to a cold, rocky mountain region, where jagged peaks pierced the sky like giant blades. Few human footprints dared to tread this harsh land. In a deep, shadowy crevice, the old lion found a damp cave, which became his temporary shelter. Each dawn, as weak rays of sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick mist, he slowly crawled out of the cave, his heavy head lifting to listen to the wind whistling through the towering cliffs. Occasionally, a fleeting memory would rush back, of powerful hunts, of the earth-shattering roar, when he defended his territory. But now, it was all just a faint echo, as distant as a forgotten dream. To sustain the last embers of his life, the old lion had to rely on small, difficult hunts. Old wounds, once seemingly dormant, now flared up, tormenting him, and making each step even more arduous. Yet a stubborn will to survive still smoldered in his clouded eyes. He gritted his teeth, trying to drag himself across the uneven gravelly ground, only he truly understanding the bitterness of this solitary journey. One twilight evening, as dark swirling clouds gathered, obscuring the entire sky, a slender figure appeared atop a precarious rocky outcrop, a young gazelle. A faint glimmer of hope flickered within the old lion for a substantial meal before darkness swallowed everything. Gathering the last vestiges of his strength, the old lion stalked, slowly approaching his prey. The treacherous terrain, with sharp rocks and bottomless ravines, did not deter his determination. His steps were slow but filled with unwavering persistence. The young gazelle seemed to sense the danger, frantically fleeing towards a sheer cliff face, a place that seemed like its last escape. The old lion growled softly, his eyes burning with a weak hunting fire, trying to keep pace, every muscle in his body strained to its limit. Suddenly, a dry, cracking sound echoed, and the old lion's front paw slipped on a loose, weathered rock. A pained roar tore through the silence as his heavy body plummeted into the abyss. Desperate claws scraped against the rock face, trying to grasp at a fleeting hope. A strong wind whistled through the chasm, violently tossing the old lion's heavy frame. The young gazelle had vanished into the darkness, leaving the old lion alone on the steep slope facing death. A furious, desperate roar echoed through the desolate mountains. For 3 relentless hours, the old lion used every ounce of his remaining strength to try and climb back up, his claws tearing and bleeding as they gripped the sharp edges of the rocks. The powerful roars of before gradually faded into weak whimpers. His claws slowly slid down the rock face, leaving only shallow, bloody streaks. Finally, completely exhausted, the old lion helplessly looked up at the gray sky, seemingly accepting the tragic end that awaited him. But fate sometimes smiles at the last moment, bringing a miracle. At that very instant, a man named Kenji, an employee of the Serengeti National Park, was driving by. Kenji had many years of experience caring for and protecting wild animals. On his way to the management center, Kenji suddenly heard the faint groan of a lion. He stopped the car immediately, quietly getting out to assess the situation. Following the sound, Kenji discovered the old lion hanging precariously on the cliff face. The scene surprised and worried him. Despite knowing the danger, he decided to find a way to get closer to help. Kenji understood that if he waited for the rescue team to arrive, the lion might not have enough strength to hold on. Looking at the trembling old lion, he guessed that it had been stuck there for a long time. The twitching of its aged muscles proved its exhaustion. Kenji tried to approach slowly, avoiding startling the large animal. By crouching down and speaking softly, he wanted to reassure the lion. The old lion also raised its head to look at him, as if it understood that this man wanted to help. Its roar had transformed into a low rumble, no longer as fierce as before. Kenji sat down closer, saying, "I will save you, but you must not hurt me." The lion nodded, lowering its head in acceptance, seemingly placing its trust in him. Kenji took a deep breath, knowing there was only one chance to pull him up safely. He gripped the lion's front paws tightly, feeling the terrible weight that old age had inflicted. The old lion also tried to use its hind paws to push hard against the cliff. Each passing second was a psychological battle between fear and hope. Rocks and soil fell from above, making the scene even more tense. Kenji gritted his teeth, using all his strength to pull the old lion up bit by bit. His arms ached, his heart pounded, but he kept trying. Finally the old lion was free from the cliff, collapsing onto the ground. Kenji's whole body also fell to one side, panting from exhaustion. The lion gasped for breath, his chest heaving, but he was safe. Kenji quickly backed away, still keeping his distance to prevent any unexpected reactions. Time passed slowly, both man and beast silently observing each other in shared exhaustion. When he had recovered slightly, the old lion slowly sat up. He shook his heavy head, then turned to look at Kenji. In his cloudy eyes, there was a glint of gratitude that words could not express. Kenji remained standing, sweat pouring down, but he smiled faintly. He knew he had just done something extraordinary, even though it all stemmed from compassion. The lion slowly moved closer, making Kenji flinch, but it had no intention of attacking. On the contrary, it lowered its head to the ground as if to bow. It was its instinctive way of showing gratitude. Kenji gently patted the old lion's back, a rare moment between man and beast. The two seemed to understand each other, despite the boundary between predator and human. Kenji raised his hand in a gesture of farewell, knowing he shouldn't get too close. The lion lifted his head and roared softly, respectfully returning the farewell. At this moment, the dark clouds began to dissipate, giving way to the sunlight. Kenji slowly walked towards his car, looking back to make sure the lion was all right. The lion followed him slowly for a while, his legs still trembling from the ordeal. Like a companion, he saw Kenji off to his old vehicle before stopping. His eyes followed Kenji, just like the eyes of a creature thanking its benefactor. Kenji got into the car, closed the door, but his eyes did not leave the lion. He suddenly remembered the lion's youth, when he was still a proud leader. Time was cruel, taking away his strength, but leaving pride in his heart. Kenji started the car, slowly driving towards the road leading to the management center. The old lion also turned his back, taking each heavy step towards the distant forest. The two had shared a miraculous encounter, where human and wild animal had supported each other. Sunlight shone through the clouds, as if sending blessings to both lives that had just escaped danger. Kenji knew that this story would forever be imprinted in his memory, and the old lion, after being rescued, would likely also carry an unforgettable memory in the mountains of Serengeti National Park. The steep cliffs had now become a testament to compassion. The story ends with the gentle roar of an old lion in the heart of the forest, echoing like a song of gratitude for life. Thanks for watching until the end of the video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of my next videos. See you in the next ones.